Hello, I have a picture of St Francis Cabrini up on my screen, and she is the patron saint for underprivileged people. So she gave her heart and life in working with those that are struggling and suffering and just do not have access to all the good things that others do. She did this by overcoming some of her own struggles. I mean, probably not completely. But still, she just was really surrendered in it, really devoted. And this is for just to give, shed some light on all this and bring in, who knows what messages might come from it that just would be good for the world right now. We just need more of this sacrifice and giving of ourselves to others and putting, shining light on just being more of an open heart, more compassionate. Okay, so here is St. Francis, and right away it feels very light going around her image. Okay, and so what I'm hearing is breath of life. So for many people, she was a breath of life for them and gave them the strength and helped to make their legs sturdy, really in spirit, so they could move on and they could just keep going in their world. Okay, so she's a benediction. She's like a blessing in her work. She's a blessing. She's a one that is not thinking always of herself. Okay, this is pointing to her head, like she doesn't think always of herself. She did all she could to leave that alone, even with her own issues, with her own struggles, with her own suffering. So she like putting down, she put that down. Okay, she laid it to rest and gave what she could to humanity. Okay, I do see a bleeding heart, like her heart bled for others in a way, knowing that their suffering was the same. And for her, she does want others salvation for them, which, really is freedom in this life and the afterlife. Okay, so this was her work, and I do see some footprints walking on the earth. This is like her work. This is where she walked in this sacred world of hand to hand, heart to heart, head to head, in giving that way. And I do see some hands with some money being exchanged, like this is wealth. This is what gave her wealth in her spirit as well as others. All right, so okay, so it is showing she's resting now. She has moved on. Her form, her spirit transcended this time and place. Yes, of course, and she's like a radiant energy. She really radiates energy, and the best thing with her is to say, like, it's like, when you take in the sacred waters into your mouth, you drink it in, and you purify. So she's done this with herself and purifying herself, and in that respect, when she's around others, she purified them in a certain respect. I see a lot, people with bandages around her, people with crutches, so they were struggling, just in spirit that way. And she was there. She'd lay her hand on their head, like anoint them in certain ways with her touch, with her words, with her work, which to her is just she just didn't feel. Okay, it's going like this, like you, me, this you, me thing, like we're different. She just, we were all children of God. We were, that was really the mindset of St. Francis Cabrini. We are all children of God. And she did work with a lot of the immigrants, I believe in Italy and New York, and helped them, gave them warm blankets, made sure they had food, and I see bread, I see warm blankets where they could lay their head, they could rest, they could feel safe. And again, her hand is on their forehead, like anointing them. A warm hand, a warm touch, a warm word. Were just where her heart was, and it just comes out like that. It comes out, it rises up. Such a different feeling than some of the heavier things you work with. You really can feel this lightness. You can feel this radiation moving out. Like, it just gave a different energy than what, some of what's happening now that we're seeing. I mean, not fully. Certainly there's a lot of good-hearted, surrendered people. It doesn't mean that, but it just shows this different energy that we could all live within that sphere. And imagine that feeling. Imagine that feeling. There's none that need to be left out in this, none that don't deserve, in many ways. I mean, I don't want to go, I'm not going into, people that have committed horrific crimes, that's... But we're just talking about the regular world and people that are doing, they need salvation too, quite frankly. Ones that have committed horrific crimes, if they're open, it's all there. But the ones, just the regular life, regular ones struggling our regular day, this is something that is just an energy that treats all the same that way. And even ones that have done terrible things, I mean, that's forgiven in her head. That's not like you're ugly, you're bad, you're just, you have a lot to learn, of course, but, this is just something that, so the biggest message here we're getting is, I see a lot an open book. With her, I see a Bible, but there's those teachings of Christ, certainly. But that in itself is like flowers, for any religion that someone is within, give those the pure teachings, whatever that is, or just some basics of being an honest person and giving what you can in the best way possible. And we just want to, we want to move more this way and expand ourselves, expand our hearts in whatever way possible. So she's just one that is cloaked in that. It is soaked in it, really. Okay, so you can see that it's making a cross on her forehead too. She's just a blessing. Okay, as I said before, okay, so again, just rise up. That's always what it comes down to. Rise up in consciousness. Rise up in consciousness. Believe me, you're going to feel better too. Everyone will feel that. Energy is one, and we all feel it. So rise up. Come higher in the way we're thinking, feeling, treating others. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. It is saying yes. Let's see what else. Okay, so it's going to her lips. Her lips. Her lips, when she was here, spoke kindness. They spoke compassion. They spoke words that did not put others down or make them feel like they're dirty or wrong. They spoke love. They spoke love. They spoke true spirit. They just, this came from her. This came from her like easily, because this is where, and it was work for her to it wasn't, she was dedicated to it. So we really need to make efforts towards, opening our heart and looking at ourselves. Okay. So again, it's wanting to move, let's move in a different way. Let's flush out some of this old and start fresh. And so I believe this is good, and hopefully it helped for those that are listening. And I wish all a blessed day. And thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.